You have raised your price target in the last day or two to $275 from $235. That's about a $70 move from here. What has to happen for that to happen?
Well, when we look at Apple here, first of all, we're going into the very strong part of the year with an iPhone cycle in the fall. New product launches coming out generally has been good for the stock. Secondly, I think what we're starting to see is a better appreciation for the company's ecosystem, whether it's across services or software or some of the hardware products. I think the market is starting to give them a lot more credit than a company that just does smartphones. I think that's very, very important. And so when you look at the stock here, 13.5 times ex cash, very, very cheap. You can look at the S&P at 16 times. You can look at sugar water companies at 19 times. And Apple's been going a lot faster than both.
This company, in your view, is underappreciated. What was vindicated in the most recent report?
Well, I think what we saw is, services significantly outperformed. So about $9.6 billion in services. Market was looking for just over $9 billion. So I think that's an important part to the story. And again, I think all of these pieces starting to come together gave a good outlook for the September quarter in what could have been a little bit conservative. New iPhones coming out in September. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's FX headwinds. And so I think people are starting to see the pieces come together. I don't think it had to have been, the blockbuster quarter and outlook that it was to get the stock to move higher in second half of the year. But it was, and that's good news.
Brian, I realize services grew. We saw wearables grow. There was a lot to like in this report, but iPhones still the majority of sales for Apple. Is a $1,000 phone the new norm? Is this what we should expect from here on out? And if so, what does that mean for Apple? And there's a lot of focus on average selling price right now.
Yeah, so when you look at, the iPhone franchise, we have to remember they only have 15% market share. So you have a global middle class that's expanding out around the world, typically outside the U.S., mostly in Asia. And, as these people get wealthier and wealthier, they have aspirational goals to own Apple products. And so I think that's a key point. A higher priced iPhone is part of that. But iPhone has, Apple has segmented the market. So you don't have to go out and buy a $1,000 iPhone. There's other models available. And I think that's a nice thing. But it is, again, I think people enter at a certain price point and they move up over time. And so Apple has room to price an iPhone at over $1,000 and get some healthy buying, which they did. It's the number one selling iPhone in the quarter, and it was the number one selling iPhone in urban China.